Great to see you, Senator. Thank you so much for being here this morning. And I want to get your take on where this is going. Do you expect anything to come out of these Obamacare subsidies by year end?
Well, Maria, first, great interview with Dave McCormick this weekend. Thank you. And I think what Dave did is articulate a massive failure. Let's not forget whose fault this is. The Democrats set this up. They're the ones that passed Obamacare without a single Republican vote. They're the ones that extended these massive subsidies during the pandemic for people that are making very high income people that are making 500% of the national poverty level. What we've done then, therefore, is pull people out of private health care plans. Basically, the Democrats have tried to destroy the private health care system, and they've created this massive collapsing Obamacare system that needs to be addressed. Their idea, let's just extend it. What we found is massive fraud in this, Maria. Inflation beyond anything anyone imagined. Inflation of health care cost under Obamacare, 4.3 times normal inflation in America since its inception. So we have a real problem here. What Republicans are going to do this week, and as soon as I get to Washington, I'm heading up later this afternoon, we're going to be sitting down going through a number of options to try to deal with better means of addressing this massive inflation and creating a system that works better for American people, meaning expanded health savings accounts, more transparency in pricing, dealing with the massive fraud. The GAO just came out with a study last week. It was incredible how much fraud is in this program and how easy it is to rip off Obamacare. We've got to bring that to an end. We've got to be much more responsible. And as we look at these options in the coming week, I'm optimistic we'll find a better solution. The question is, will Democrats work with us?
Yeah, I mean, are you expecting a House GOP health care bill by the end of the week? Mike Johnson's idea?
We're hearing that may be coming, and I'm certain that we're going to work closely together with Republicans in the House side to get something that we think is workable for both the House and the Senate.
Yeah, and they're talking about income caps and fraud prevention. But I guess, Senator, I really want to get your take on the NDAA. Lawmakers unveiling their annual defense policy bill and authorizing a record $901 billion in national security spending in 2026. That was larger than even President Trump's request. The bill also providing $400 million in military assistance to Ukraine. What are your expectations here?
This has been a very challenging environment, Maria, and as you know, the National Defense Authorization Bill moves through every year. A lot of things are added to this bill that aren't directly related to the Department of Defense, but are important for our national security. What I think we're going to see here is it coming together. We've got greater security threats than we've ever seen before. President Trump walked into a complete morass in January when he took over. Since then, he's been dealing with problems all around the planet. What we've found is massive redirection of resources in the Pentagon. We've got an incredible effort underway to try to rebuild our military capability to get back to the force strength and to the lethality that we need to have as the leader of the free world. We're working on that at pace. I'm very optimistic that our European allies are stepping up. Japan is stepping up. South Korea is stepping up. We're seeing around the world a recognition that we have got to deal with threats from China, threats from Russia, threats from Iran, threats from Venezuela. We've got to address the fact that the threat situation is dramatically increased.
Well, you're right. And, you know, China is a big part of that. Do you think that the Trump administration is softening its language on China? I mean, even in the face of what's going on with Japan, right? Japan is protesting after a Chinese military jet reportedly locked radar on Japanese fighter jets. It's looked at as a threat, and it could signal a potential attack. China has also been flexing its military might across the waters of East Asia, deploying more than 100 Navy vessels through the Yellow Sea and the South China Sea. So you've got both Japan and Taiwan warning of rising military activity from Beijing. Taiwan recently increasing its defense budget by $40 billion with plans to purchase more U.S. arms at a time that the Wall Street Journal is saying that the U.S., the administration, is softening its language on China. What do you say?
Well, I think what we have to realize is that there's a multi-variable negotiation going on here. Certainly, China has ramped up its provocations. We've seen this movie before. When President Trump took office back in 2017, the exact same thing had been underway under the Obama administration. China had ramped up its military presence in the South China Sea, the East China Sea surrounding the Senkaku Islands. We've seen it mount even further under Biden. The incursions into the Taiwan Strait dramatically increased after Biden's massive failure in Afghanistan. What we're dealing with now, though, is a very different situation where we're navigating trade terms and military terms. And President Trump, I think, is going to stand strong on both dimensions, but he's navigating both at the same time. So I'm optimistic we'll get to the right place, but we can't look at this in isolation. It's not just a military situation. It's not just an economic situation. We've got to look at it in its entirety.
Yeah, you're right. And this is all happening at a time that we're still very tied to the Chinese supply chain. Let's not forget that.
Indeed.
We can't decouple and cause inflation to skyrocket because we're not taking in their cheap stuff. Senator, it's great to see you. Always a pleasure to talk with you, Bill.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.